And this public hearing is to waive the residency requirement for the town engineer position. Now, each speaker will be allowed up to 5 minutes if they take the podium. I will let everybody know that as of now, nobody has signed in to take the podium. Before I put the gavel down, we start the public hearing. I would like for Brayton Connard, our head of human resources, to somewhat explain why we're having this public hearing and potentially subsequent resolution that swans off.
Mr. Supervisor, within town government, some positions require residency under state law, but many do not. And so there is an inconsistency between certain department heads are required to be residents and others are not, and that is based on whether they are considered a public officer. There's also the ability, according to the New York State Attorney General, for jurisdictions to adopt local laws to modify their residency requirements to allow public officers to live outside of the town. For instance, there is more than one of those effect in the town code currently. And so we are requesting an extension of a current residency waiver for the position of town engineer. The town board adopted a residency waiver, a temporary residency waiver about 3 years ago because the candidate we hired did not live in the town but was intending to move back to the town. Our recruitment has been going on since last July, and so we feel, we've discussed with the board previously, that we've demonstrated a recruitment difficulty that required us to consider candidates who lived outside the town of Webster and who do not intend to move into the town of Webster. Of course, they may change their mind in the future, when they become even more familiar with how fantastic a town it is. But as of currently, they're not intending to do that. And so that's why the search committee and I approached the town board and requested that the residency be waived. That requires a public hearing, which is tonight, and a vote of the town board.
An excellent explanation of that before we put the gavel down, if anybody decides they want to take the podium on this. So, with that being said, I'm going to open the public hearing. Now, nobody had signed in to speak. Is any of the attendees tonight, would they like to comment about the residency requirement of the town engineer position?
Sure, why not?
Sir, take the podium.
Good evening, Brian Gutman, 228 Western Run, Webster. So I understand our current candidate lives outside the town, but I'm a strong supporter that the candidate should live in the town, or at least directly in the town adjoining Webster. That's, Penfield, Irondequoit, Ontario. There are, like they've said, there are other towns that do have waivers for residents who do not, for engineers who do not have to be, but a lot of them do have a stipulation in the state town code that says they should be at least adjoining. So hopefully the candidate is. That's just where I fall.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Anybody else want to take the podium on this? I'm going to close out the public hearing.
Jesus.
Is there any discussion, questions from the town board members before we move on to the next items?
No, I think we talked about this at a workshop recently, that there was pretty significant challenges in finding a qualified candidate for this position, and it was open for a long time, and Braden had to go through some pretty extraordinary efforts to find this person, so I think we're doing what we need to do to get the position filled.
Jenny? Anything?
No,
I think what we have to be doing, get it done, to get out efficiently run. So I believe that whatever Brian have done, good job finding the candidates. I fully support that.
Jen? Questions? Okay. Well, then I'd like to make a motion to enact a local law to waive the residency requirement for the position of town engineer in Webster.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wood?
Aye.